Welcome to Easy English Steps. Here, you can listen to simple stories and improve your English. Relax, enjoy, and learn with us. Neil Armstrong, the man who walked on the moon. Neil Armstrong was born on August 5th, 1930, in a small town called Wapakoneta, in the state of Ohio, United States. From a very young age, Neil was different. While other kids played with toy cars, Neil built model airplanes. He loved machines, engines, and most of all, flying. At the age of 6, Neil had his very first airplane ride. The moment the airplane lifted off the ground, something inside him changed. He didn't just want to ride planes, he wanted to fly them. That moment planted a dream deep in his heart to soar into the sky. As he grew older, Neil read books about space and aviation. He studied hard in school and never stopped learning. He earned his pilot's license when he was just 16 years old, before he even had a driver's license. That's how much he loved flying. Later, Neil went to college to study aerospace engineering. But before he could finish, he was called to serve in the U.S. Navy. He became a fighter pilot and flew 78 missions during the Korean War. He was brave, calm, and focused. Even when things went wrong, Neil stayed cool and found solutions. After the war, he returned to school, finished his degree, and became a test pilot. This meant flying new planes, fast, powerful, and sometimes dangerous. Neil flew some of the most advanced aircraft in the world, including the famous X-15 rocket plane, which could fly almost to the edge of space. In 1962, Neil was chosen by NASA to become an astronaut. At that time, the idea of going to the moon seemed like science fiction. But the United States had made a promise to send a man to the moon before the end of the 1960s. Neil trained for years. He practiced spacewalks underwater, studied spacecraft systems, and spent hours inside simulators. Every day brought new challenges. But Neil was quiet, smart, and always ready. Then came the mission of a lifetime, Apollo 11. On July 16, 1969, millions of people around the world watched as Apollo 11 lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Inside were Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. After 4 days in space, they reached the moon. Michael stayed in orbit, while Neil and Buzz entered a small spacecraft called the Lunar Module, or Eagle. As the Eagle landed, alarms went off. The computer was overloaded, but Neil took control, guiding the module to a safe landing spot. His heart was racing, but his voice was calm. "Houston Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Then came the moment the world will never forget. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong climbed down the ladder. As his boots touched the surface of the moon, he said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." People cheered, some cried, others simply stared at the TV in silence. For the first time in history, a human was standing on another world. Neil and Buzz walked on the moon, collected samples, and planted the American flag. They left a plaque that said, "We came in peace for all mankind." They stayed on the moon for about 21 hours before returning to the spaceship. 3 days later, they splashed down in the Pacific Ocean and were welcomed as heroes. But Neil didn't seek fame. He returned to a quiet life, teaching engineering and spending time with his family. He believed the moon landing was not just his success, but a success for all humanity. Neil Armstrong passed away in 2012, but his legacy lives on. Moral of the story: Neil's life teaches us that quiet courage, hard work, and believing in big dreams can lead us to the stars. He was the first man on the moon, but his story belongs to all of us. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming stories. Leave a comment to share your thoughts and feel free to like and share this video to inspire others. See you in the next one.